Hello and welcome back to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. Indian Prime Minister visited Ukraine. India celebrated its first National Space Day on August 23. World's first mRNA lung cancer vaccine trials begin in Europe. India's first reusable hybrid rocket named Rumi-1 launched. Researchers find concerning accumulation of microplastics in human brain. FSSAI urged states to establish an Inter-ministerial Committee to reduce pesticide use. In our first news, we bring you an important update on a historic diplomatic event, Indian Prime Minister's visit to Ukraine, marking the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister since diplomatic ties were established between the two nations in 1992. This visit comes at a critical time when the world is closely watching the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. India has consistently advocated for a peaceful resolution to this conflict through dialogue and diplomacy, and this visit reinforces that commitment. Now let's dive into the key highlights of the Prime Minister's visit. Firstly, during this visit, 4 significant agreements and memorandums of understanding were signed between India and Ukraine. These agreements span various sectors, including cooperation in agriculture and the food industry, providing humanitarian grant assistance for high-impact community development projects, cultural cooperation, and an agreement on medicines and drugs. In addition to these agreements, India provided 4 Bhishma cubes to Ukraine. These cubes, part of the Bharat Health Initiative for Sahyog Hit and Maitri, contain essential medicines and equipment designed to provide the first line of care for a wide range of injuries and medical situations. Moving on, the significance of this visit extends beyond just these agreements. It highlights India's strategic autonomy, demonstrating that India's perspective on Ukraine and the ongoing conflict is independent of its relationship with Russia. This visit marks an effort by India to dehyphenate its relations with Russia and Ukraine, showing that India seeks to maintain close ties with both nations as part of its broader foreign policy. Moreover, this visit underscores India's Eastern Europe pivot, expanding its engagement with not just Ukraine but also other countries like Poland and Greece, aligning with Europe's peace efforts in the region. It's also a reflection of India's larger push into Europe, where previously countries like Russia, Germany, France, and Britain were prioritized. Now let's take a moment to understand the broader significance of India-Ukraine ties. Before the war, Ukraine was one of the largest sources of sunflower oil for India, highlighting the importance of agricultural ties. In the defense sector, Ukraine has been a key partner, having signed agreements worth $70 million in the year 2021, which include the sale of new weapons and maintenance and upgrade of existing ones in India's armed forces. Looking ahead, both nations have agreed to explore the possibility of Indian companies participating in Ukraine's post-war reconstruction and recovery efforts. Additionally, there are opportunities in areas such as medical education. Finally, India's stance on Ukraine-Russia conflict remains clear and consistent. India advocates for a peaceful resolution through dialogue and diplomacy. It is important to note that India has asserted that it is not neutral in this conflict. From the very beginning, India has taken a stand for peace. In conclusion, this visit marks a significant step in India's diplomatic journey, showcasing its commitment to peace, strategic autonomy, and strengthening its global relationships. Ahead, we mark a significant milestone in our nation's history as we celebrated India's very first National Space Day. This special day, observed on August 23, carries the theme Touching Lives While Touching the Moon, India's Space Saga. The choice of this date is no coincidence. It commemorates India's remarkable achievement on August 23, 2023, when our nation became the 4th country to land on the moon and the first to reach its southern polar region. Now let's revisit that historic moment. The ISRO successfully executed the Chandrayaan-3 mission, where the Vikram lander made a safe and soft landing on the lunar surface. Following this, the Pragyan rover was deployed, marking a significant leap for India in space exploration. The landing site was aptly named Shiv Shakti Point, a name that resonates with strength and divine energy. But why is exploring the moon so important? Well, the moon's surface and its internal structure hold clues that can help us understand the formation and evolution of our solar system. The moon also serves as a natural laboratory to test new space technologies, flight capabilities, and life support systems, especially for future deep space missions. Moreover, the presence of lunar water is seen as a potential resource that could be used to supply rocket fuel components, enabling further space exploration. Furthermore, moon exploration isn't just about science, it also fuels commercial ambitions. Space tourism, the extraction of rare earth elements, and the development of new medical and technological innovations are all within the realm of possibility as we advance in our lunar endeavors. Shifting our focus to India's space economy, we can take pride in our past achievements such as Mars Orbiter mission, AstroSat, Chandrayaan-2, and the upcoming Aditya L1 solar mission. Looking ahead, India has ambitious plans, including the Lunar Polar Exploration Mission in 2026, the commissioning of the Bharatiya Antariksh Station by 2035, and even aiming for an Indian astronauts landing on the moon by 2040. With these goals, India's space economy is expected to skyrocket from $8 billion to $44 billion in the next decade. As we celebrate National Space Day, let us remember that our journey into space is not just about reaching new frontiers, but also about improving life here on Earth. Ahead in the news, we have an exciting breakthrough in the field of medical science to discuss. Europe has begun trials for the world's first mRNA lung cancer vaccine, known as BNT116. This vaccine specifically targets non-small cell lung cancer, which is the most common type of lung cancer. Now let's consider the importance of this development. Lung cancer remains the leading cause of cancer deaths globally, claiming about 1.8 million lives each year. The statistic underscores the critical need for new and effective treatments, and that's where the BNT116 vaccine comes in. So what makes this vaccine special? The BNT116 vaccine is based on mRNA technology. You might be familiar with mRNA vaccines from the COVID-19 pandemic, but let's break down how this technology works. The mRNA in the vaccine is a genetic molecule that carries instructions for our cells. When introduced into the body, it tells cells to produce a specific viral protein. This protein then triggers the immune system to produce antibodies, preparing the body to fight off the actual virus if encountered. For instance, the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine instructed cells to create copies of the coronavirus's spike protein. Moving on to the benefits of mRNA vaccines, first and foremost, they are considered safer because they don't use live or weakened viruses. This reduces the risk associated with traditional vaccines. Additionally, mRNA vaccines can be developed quickly, which is crucial in responding to emerging health threats. In conclusion, the start of these trials marks a significant step forward in the fight against lung cancer. While there is still much work to be done, the potential of mRNA technology in cancer treatment is truly promising. An exciting news from the world of space technology. India has just marked a significant milestone with the launch of its first reusable hybrid rocket named Rumi-1. This remarkable achievement was made possible by the Tamil Nadu-based startup Space Zone India in collaboration with the Martin Group. The rocket was launched from Tiruvithandai in Chennai, and what's truly impressive is that it was done using a mobile launcher. Now let's dive into what Rumi-1 carried with it. The rocket transported 3 CubeSat satellites and 50 Pico satellites. These small but powerful devices are set to collect crucial data on global warming and climate change. But what exactly are these satellites? Cube satellites or CubeSats are a class of nanosatellites that typically weigh between 1 and 10 kilograms. On the other hand, Pico satellites are even smaller, weighing between 0.1 and 1 kilogram. Moving on, let's talk about some of the key features of Rumi-1. One of the standout aspects is its hybrid rocket engine. The engine uses a combination of solid and liquid propellants, making the rocket more efficient and reducing operational costs. Another interesting feature is its adjustable launch angle. This allows for precise adjustment from 0 to 120 degrees, ensuring meticulous control over its trajectory. But that's not all. Rumi-1 also boasts an electrically triggered parachute system, which is an innovative, cost-effective, and eco-friendly descent mechanism that ensures the safe recovery of the rocket components. Additionally, it's worth mentioning that Rumi-1 is 100% pyrotechnic-free and contains 0% TNT, making it environmentally friendly. Now, what about the broader concept of reusable rockets? These rockets are designed to release their payload, return to Earth, and then be relaunched with a new payload. The benefits are immense. For one, they offer cost savings up to 65% cheaper than building a new rocket for each launch. They also help in reducing space debris by minimizing discarded rocket components. And because they can be reused, there's an increased launch frequency, meaning these rockets can be turned around more quickly for future missions. To wrap up things, the launch of Rumi-1 marks a significant step forward for India's space exploration efforts. Next, we are discussing a topic that's becoming increasingly alarming. Researchers have discovered a concerning accumulation of microplastics in the human brain. This is part of a growing body of scientific evidence showing that microplastics are not only present in the environment, but are now making their way into critical human organs, including lungs, placenta, liver, kidneys, blood vessels, bone marrow, and yes, even the brain. So what exactly are microplastics? Well, these are tiny plastic particles no larger than 5 mm in diameter. They come in 2 main types, primary and secondary microplastics. Primary microplastics are those that are intentionally manufactured for use in commercial products such as cosmetics, personal care products, detergents, and even in items like printer inks and spray paints. On the other hand, secondary microplastics are formed when larger plastic items like fishing gear, bottles, and bags break down over time. Now, why should we be concerned about these tiny particles? The potential hazards of microplastics stem from their physical properties, the presence of plastic dust in particulate air pollution, and the harmful chemicals within the microplastic particles themselves, such as BPA, phthalates, and heavy metals. The impacts of microplastics on human health are quite severe. They have been linked to cancer, disrupted endocrine and immune systems, the destruction of brain cells, impaired learning, and even negative effects on maternal and fetal health. But it's not just humans who are at risk. Microplastics also have detrimental impact on aquatic ecosystems. They lead to bioaccumulation, compromise immune and digestive systems in marine life, and can cause growth inhibition and differential gene expression. In benthic organisms, which are critical to oceanic processes, microplastics interfere with essential processes like trophic energy transfer and nutrient remineralization. Additionally, these particles enter the food chain, leading to environmental issues such as accelerated evaporation of water in the soil. So what can be done to address these issues? Present methods for removing microplastics include coagulation, membrane bioreactor systems, magnetic separation, biofiltration, biodegradation, and incineration. While these methods are in place, the challenge lies in effectively reducing the presence of microplastics in our environment and ultimately in our bodies. As we conclude, it's important to remember that the presence of microplastics in our organs, especially the brain, is a wake-up call. Next, we are discussing a crucial step taken by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which has urged states to establish an Inter-ministerial Committee. This committee will have a focused mission to reduce the use of pesticides, implement effective control measures, and develop strategies for monitoring and regulating pesticide application at the farmer level. So why is this so important? The primary goal here is to ensure food safety and promote sustainable agricultural practices. By doing this, we not only protect our crops but also shield consumers from potential health risks associated with pesticide residues. Let's take a closer look at what pesticides are. Essentially, pesticides are chemicals used to kill, prevent, or control pests. These can be insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, or even biopesticides. Interestingly, herbicides, which are used to control weeds, hold the largest market share in India at 44% as of 2023. In fact, over 60,000 tons chemical pesticides are used annually in the country, with states like Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, and Telangana leading in consumption. However, India's pesticide usage stands at 0.5 kg per hectare, which is significantly lower compared to some countries that use up to 17 kg per hectare. But what about the impact of these pesticides? On the human health front, pesticides have been linked to severe issues like cancer and hormone disruption. For example, acephate is classified as potential carcinogen by US Environmental Protection Agency. In agriculture, the decline of pollinators like bees is a significant concern, while on the environmental side, pesticide use leads to contamination of surface and groundwater and can negatively affect non-target plants and animals. What can be done to address these issues? One key approach is to encourage integrated pest management and use of biopesticides. Additionally, the appropriate bodies must be established to administer Insecticides Act of 1968, which is currently regulated by the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare rather than Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals. There are already some global and national initiatives in place. Globally, there's the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants and the FARM program implemented by UNEP and other agencies. On the national front, India has introduced the Pesticide Management Bill 2020 and is working on the National Pest Surveillance System. Today's place in the news brings us to Botswana with its capital Gaborone. Recently, the world's second largest diamond has been unearthed in Botswana. Botswana is one of the largest producers of diamonds and it accounted for 20% of global production. Let's dive into its political features. It is a landlocked country in the center of southern Africa. Its bordering countries include Namibia in the west and north, Zambia and Zimbabwe in the northeast, and South Africa in the southeast and south. Geographically, the Tropic of Capricorn passes through Botswana. Kalahari Desert covers more than 70% of Botswana. Its major rivers are Okavango, Limpopo, and Zambezi. Okavango Delta is Africa's largest endorheic delta. Its biodiversity includes the savanna grassland and world's largest concentration of African elephants. As we conclude today's main news, let's take a moment for some quick updates. The Supreme Court upheld the retrospective benefit of Section 479 of BNSS for first-time offenders. Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita replaced the Code of Criminal Procedure from July 1, 2024. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India has formed a task force to address, challenge and drive the growth of surety bond insurance. A surety bond is a risk transfer mechanism wherein an insurer provides a guarantee to a beneficiary that the principal or contractor will meet his contractual obligations. SEBI releases consultation paper to seek suggestions for enabling faster rights issue. It aims to make rights issues a preferred mode vis-a-vis other modes of fund raising such as qualified institutional placement and preferential allotments. Indian Chamber of Commerce launched the All India Initiative on Creative Economy. It conceptualizes a forum where India's creative industries could come together and collaborate on various matters related to creative economy. Ministry of Agriculture allows blueberry import from Poland exclusively from orchards registered with National Plant Protection Organization. India imports blueberries from countries like US, Canada, Poland and Peru. Recently, Tanager-1 satellite has been launched. Tanager-1 is a Carbon Mappers Coalition first satellite and has been developed by Planet Labs BBC. Carbon Mapper is a non-profit organization focused on facilitating timely action to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. Bandicoot Mini has been launched by startup Gen Robotic Innovations. It is more compact and affordable version of Bandicoot Robot. Bandicoot Robot is a manhole cleaning robot that does all the tasks that are manually done inside the manhole. Under the Sagarmala program, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways is developing the National Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal, Gujarat. The name Lothal comes from Gujarati word which means Mound of the Dead. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this edition of News Today. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.